I am so happy with how this looks for the Rangers. We have a pitcher, Jack Leiter, and he is a dude.
And while I do think his hitting is worse than Derek Jeter, it's not that far off.
You're not mentioning 2006. You can mention the other people, not 2006.
Oh, just because I bought the best soap doesn't mean your room's going to be clean. It just leaves it to where I don't believe that the Canadians had a shot.
I really don't like the Clippers just kind of sending it in when they're like...
Hi, this is Kelly Forbes with the Dallas Stars, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our reviewing our season predictions with the NHL. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by the man that was safe in the East, but not safe in the West, Austin.
Yeah, that's true. I went risky, and I don't blame myself for doing so. I think in
It was
the
still a
West,
close race. I won 32. You got 28.
28.
So
yeah.
it's a 4-point difference, which is fine. Like, it was good.
Yeah, and I won the NBA, so they gotta have you win the NHL. It's only right.
Yes. Did I go because I won NHL playoffs and I won NHL season predictions. Okay, cool.
And I won NBA playoffs easily because I did not get to win the championship. So I just realized both of us who won the regular season predictions also got our champion correct for the playoffs. So because you had Vegas, you won the NHL preseason predictions, and Vegas won a championship. And then
in the preseason,
No. In the preseason prediction, I had Minnesota beating Boston, but I'm talking for your playoff prediction.
Avalanche beating the Panthers in the Stanley Cup. That's wild. But that doesn't count because we were just doing regular season. So
yeah. But
overall,
I do find it kind of interesting that I dominated NBA 2-0. You dominated NHL 2-0. There was no what?
Or I can't remember.
I won the season predictions for the NBA.
Okay, gotcha.
And I won the playoff predictions easily.
Oh yeah, so we both went 2-0. Wow,
that's what I said. I dominated NBA. You dominated NHL. It's just it was a year of dominance. There was no competitiveness. We're talking about parity in the USFL. Well, we need some parity here.
Well, we'll have to check that out in the future. That's a little teaser for what's cooking right now. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so let's go through it. I definitely had some bad picks. I also had some good picks. The Atlantic, we both got 10 points.
We did, and we basically had the same rankings, but it was a little bit different. Our first 5 were all the same. Florida, Tampa, Boston, Toronto, Ottawa. I got -1 for Ottawa. You did not because I had Ottawa in the playoffs. You did not. So just a reminder, if you have the team in the playoffs and they make the playoffs +1, it's 2 more points if they're in the right spot and in general. So if we'll get to a point where this is very important, it's a reason why Kevin wins a division instead of us being tied. And when we get there, we'll explain it. But you get +2 points for the right spot, and then another point if they're in the playoffs and not in the playoffs when you predicted it.
Yes, that's a good point. It was the first time that ever happened. We'll get to that. So we had Leafs. Then I went Red Wings, Sabres, Canadians.
And you got +3 for Montreal. Yeah. I got, but you also didn't get the -1 for Ottawa. So we get the same score. Because you had no minuses. I just realized.
Yeah, I had no minuses in the Atlantic. I
do have a minus, but I make up for it with my Detroit pick at 7. So so we both get 10. We're tied, and this is us talking through it. This is the first division we went over when we were checking each other's. So it was a tight race.
It was a tight race. So those were ours. Nothing. You just had Ottawa making the playoffs. That's the only really not so good pick. Then Metropolitan, I had Hurricanes. I got +3. Rangers +1. Penguins -1. That's a bad one there. Islanders +3. Capitals I had missing, but I just had them a different spot. Blue Jackets I had missing, so I got +1. But the Devils hurts me here because I picked them second to last, and they actually finished in
Second.
So that's pretty bad one for me. But
you get Philly last.
Yeah, I had Philly last, which would have happened if it just weren't for the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, and this is where, I mean, both of us had New Jersey low. I had New Jersey at 8, but it helped me. It did, because I had 6 and 7 correct. We'll explain that shortly.
Yeah.
Carolina, +3. Rangers, +1. Columbus, -1. Pittsburgh, +1. Even though they're at 4, I had them missing the playoffs, so I still get a point. Islanders, -1 because they made the playoffs. But Washington, Philly, back-to-back, +3, saves it. And New Jersey at 8 seems like a bad pick, but it's worth it when you consider the 6 and 7 both being +3. So I'll take it. It's not a good pick. It's not. I'm off 7 spots from 2 to 8 if you count each spot. But getting 6 and 7 corrects saves this spot. And we're tied again. 8. We're 18
but
each.
You did have the Blue Jackets making the playoffs.
I did. I believed in Johnny Gaudreau.
That's fair.
Okay.
But yeah, you no matter what, we were still tied coming out of the East.
We were making different shots, but
yeah,
the score was the same. You were making and ones, I was shooting threes, but the score remained the same. We were still tied.
Yes. So it was a tied score of 18. Then this one, it still would have been close, but this did kind of give me the lead here in the Central, where I have Avalanche +3, Wild +1, Blues -1, Stars +1. I had the Predators at 5, but making the playoffs. But Austin did say I get points. It's 2 for the right spot.
+2 for right spot, but -1 because you had them making the playoffs. So they don't make the playoffs, but you still get a positive point because it's more important to get the right spot in this game we play.
So and I end up with 2.
Because we were both going over it before the show or before the episode, and we were confused because I was getting 10. I kept on counting. I'm like, Kevin, you're at 10. I don't see it. And then he was getting 8, and I'm like, I get it. You had Nashville at 5. That's why I'm getting 10. And you can tell that I'm actually, I'm not a sore loser. I gave you the extra point. I could have just let you walk with 8. It wouldn't have mattered in the end. But
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. No, we're good. It's fun. We've gotten to where we accept our losses.
Yeah, I want you to get as many points as possible.
We take flack for our losses, and we make sure the other person takes flack for their losses. But we also congratulate.
Yeah. I want you to get all the points you deserve, Kevin.
Hey, I appreciate that. I was like, oh man, I forgot. I forgot how the points worked.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll go over mine.
I'm really proud of my Coyotes, Blackhawks. I remember that too. I was like, oh, I had them in the same spot. That's +3. Blues here. You and I both had Blues in the same spot.
Yeah, our top 5 were all in the same spot. Colorado, it really was the bottom that determined it because I had Colorado at 1, Minnesota 2, St. Louis at 3, Dallas at 4, Nashville at 5, but I had Nashville missing the playoffs.
Yes.
So I get +3 instead of the +1. And there, I'm winning until we go to the bottom. And we both had Winnipeg missing, which isn't the issue. But I had Chicago at 6, Winnipeg 7, Arizona 8. So Arizona jumping to 7, Chicago falling to 8 in what actually happened made it to where you got 10 points and I ended with 8.
Yeah. The big things here. Then the Pacific. This is where I thought you were going to come out ahead. But I remembered it differently. So I had the Oilers at 1, so I got +1. Flames, I had -1. I had them at 2. I got Kings +3. Ducks +1. Vegas I missed. Seattle I missed. Canucks +1. Sharks +1.
Okay. Yeah, this was, I mean, if you were listening to this and you were counting, I was at this point, I was at 26 and you were at 28. And you're like, we ended with 32 and 28, or a 30. Wait, no, I was at 30. We ended at 32 and 28. I was at 26. You were at 28. this must have been horrible, and it is. It's just as bad as you can
Yeah,
imagine.
it's a bad division pick.
That's true. And even though I had Vegas making the playoffs and you didn't, I had Calgary at 1, -1, Vancouver at 2. Man, that just looks horrible now looking back on it. But I didn't expect it. LA at 3, both of us had that, so it didn't hurt nor help. But Vegas at 4 making the playoffs, that's +1. But Seattle, Edmonton back-to-back, both -1s. Anaheim +1 at 7, but they got 8th. And then San Jose at 8, but they got 7. If I had those flipped, I win because that's 6 more points.
Yeah,
You
so
add,
that's 6,
or it's
yeah.
actually, no, we actually tie because
Oh, we
I already
tie.
have +1. That added 4 points, and we would have tied 32-32. But no,
That would have
no
been
good,
funny.
yeah, no good game into the tie. So Kevin takes the dub.
But yeah, it was a tough race. Really fun looking at it. I knew the Vegas one was gonna bite me. That was a riskier pick.
Do you have a favorite pick, one that you are most proud in, and then one conversely that you are
I
least
think
proud in?
Hurricanes is probably my favorite because I remember the year before I was hating on the Hurricanes. I'm like, nah, they're gonna do great this year, and they did. One that I think is probably bad is the Flames pick at 2.
Yeah, I want to go New Jersey at 8 was probably
Ooh,
my
yeah.
worst pick, but I'm not gonna, not for score wise, because score wise it actually helped me because I probably would have moved down Philly and Washington if I knew that they were going to be this good. So I'll say my actual worst pick is Vancouver at 2 because they weren't even close. At least Calgary was like at that playoff
Yeah.
line. They were right there with the Jets, and the Jets were just a better team, and so they got it. But Vancouver at 2, and they weren't even in the race, and they fired their head coach, and it was just a bad season. My best pick, though, I'll probably go Detroit at 7. I heard a lot of people saying that Detroit was going to be this come out of nowhere great team, and they weren't. And I predicted them at 7. I think that's probably my best pick.
Yeah, that's a good pick. But yeah, really fun. We'll see how we do next year, but let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.